and sisters, we rise for prayer. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the beneficent, the merciful. So, Master's Day of Judgment in which we now live, Thee alone do we serve, and Thee alone seek for Thine help and aid. O Allah, please guide us on the right path, path of those upon whom Thou hast bestowed Thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom Thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray if they heard Thy teachings. Say He Allah is one God. Allah is He of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is He begotten, there is none like Him. And I bear witness that none deserve to be served, worship, to praise besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is that true servant and last apostle. Ameen. We'd like to acknowledge the brothers and sisters that extended us the greetings of Assalamu alaikum. We have Brother Rahman and Brother Dewan Rafiq. We have Brother Mustafa and Sister Sharice Ali from Ohio. We have Sister Fatima Ali from Philly. We have Sister Daka Shabazz from New York. We have Minister Rashida and the Believers from Atlanta. We have Minister Charles Muhammad from Atlanta. We have Brother Abdul Ali from Florida. And we have Brother Mutakabir Ali from New Jersey.
It's
Rashada. Sorry, Rashada. Minister Rashada. Yes, sir. And the Believers from Atlanta. All right, thank you. I'd like to say in the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, in the name of his last and greatest messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I'd like to greet the brothers and sisters with the Nation of Islam's greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. Today we'd like to talk about the solution to the problem is divine. That's what we want to talk about today. This right here is a picture of the brother who made the documentary Who Killed Malcolm X. Because it's so much in that documentary that I want to say something about. He, in the documentary, because this was him on the news, this was February 20th, 2020. This him on the news talking about the documentary. Because they still making a big issue about the documentary. The thing that he said in the documentary that I want to cover today is he said that Malcolm exposed the messenger for the fraud that he is. For the fraud. What he said about the messenger. Now he a Muslim. Now his name is Abdur Rahman Muhammad. Let's look at that. Yeah. Talking about the messenger was a fraud. Okay. Now, you got two different courts. You got Islam, which is freedom, justice, and equality, and you got the white man's court. Right. Which is the court of public opinion. Yes. Two different courts. You got the court of freedom, justice, and equality, and you got the court of public opinion. That's the white man's court. That's the Christian court. Right. Because if the white man don't got nothing on you, he about to take you to the court of public opinion. Yes, that's right. So he ain't losing in that court. Right. The court of public opinion. So what is the court of public opinion? It says trying cases in the court of public opinion refers to using the news media to influence public support for one side or the other in a court case. This can result in persons outside the justice system, i.e. people other than the judge and the jury, take action for or against a party. For instance, the reputation of a party may be greatly damaged even if he wins the case. Yes, sir. So when the devil takes somebody to the court of public opinion, it don't matter no more about the truth. Because your reputation can be damaged even if you innocent. Right. When they take it to the court of public opinion. Because the court of public opinion ain't got nothing to do with truth or false. That's right. Nothing at all. Right. Because the white man had the court of public opinion even in the time of Jesus. Yes, sir. They had the court of public opinion. Yes. Because during the time of Jesus, the Sanhedrin That was them group of Jews that didn't like Jesus.
Yes, sir.
So what they did is they got false witness against Jesus.
Yes, sir. Right.
False witness. So they took them false witnesses to the court of public opinion.
Yes, sir.
So they persuaded the crowd to go for Barabbas instead of Jesus.
Yes, sir.
To choose a prisoner over Jesus.
Right.
Because they didn't have nothing according to Jesus' works.
Yes,
they
sir.
had nothing on Jesus. Nothing at all.
Right.
So that's why they chose to find false witness against Jesus.
Good teaching, bro.
Take the false witness to the court of public opinion to get Jesus.
Right.
Because they knew they didn't have nothing on him. Because if you got something on him, you could just take him to court. Freedom,
right.
justice, and equality.
That's right.
But when you don't got nothing against him, when you hate him for teaching the truth, then you got the court of public opinion.
Yes, sir.
So when the crowd chose Barabbas over Jesus, Pontius Pilate said, what evil has he committed? What did he do?
Right.
We all know that Barabbas is a prisoner.
Right.
He guilty of what he charged with.
Right.
But Jesus, what crime did he commit? He didn't commit no crime. So Pontius Pilate said, his blood is on your hands.
Right.
His blood is on your hands. I ain't got nothing to do with this because I know this man committed no crime.
Right.
So let's go to Jesus. Because even the Bible and Holy Quran teaches us what we supposed to do in these cases. It tells us what we supposed to do. So in the Bible, Jesus says, beware of false prophets.
Right.
He tell you how to distinguish a faker from somebody who for real.
Yes, sir.
So he says, beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep clothing, but inwardly they are raven wolves.
Yes, sir.
Because you don't know a person on the inside, they heart.
That's right. That's right.
You can't tell a person's heart.
Right.
So Jesus is telling you, how can you know a person's heart? How can you know if they are wolf or if they are true prophet? He said, ye shall know them by their fruits.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
This is a divine law
Right.
Yes.
with freedom, justice, and equality.
That's right.
You are known by their fruits. He says, do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistle? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. He says a good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit.
Yes, sir.
A good tree
Right.
cannot bring forth good fruit. This is a divine law.
Right.
This is freedom, justice, and equality.
Yes, sir.
So them Sanhedrin knew this too. They knew that they ain't had no charge. Ain't no way Jesus from the fruits that he bear,
Yes, sir.
we can charge him in the court of freedom, justice, and equality. So Jesus goes on to say, he says, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. He says, every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. He says, wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them.
Yes, sir.
By their fruits. Not by no slander, not by gossip, not by he say, she say, but by their fruits.
Right.
Oh, praise is due to Allah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So let's look at the messenger. But the messenger was always 1,000 steps ahead of these hypocrites.
That's right.
Always.
That's right.
Because the messenger, the one thing about the messenger, when you look at him, he never went to the court of public opinion on Malcolm.
Yes, sir.
Whenever Malcolm used to talk about the messenger, he didn't go to the court of public opinion. He stayed with freedom, justice, and equality.
Yes.
Right.
When he came against Malcolm,
Yes, sir.
he told you what God said.
Right.
Yes.
That's how he came at Malcolm, with the scriptures.
Right.
He ain't never go to the court. That's the difference between Malcolm and the messenger. The media thing.
Yes, sir.
Malcolm was made by the press. So his whole thing was built on the media. So he knew he ain't had nothing on the messenger. Because in Islam, you got to have 4 witnesses to charge a person of adultery.
That's right.
Because the punishment in Islam is so severe for adultery.
Yes, sir.
So to keep away from getting innocent people hurt, you got to have 4 witnesses.
Yes, sir.
Now, what is a witness? We need to know what is actually a witness. What does it mean to be a witness? It says a person who sees an event, typically a crime or accident, take place.
Yes, sir.
That's what a witness is. And to charge a person of adultery, you got to have 4 witnesses. Not 1, not 2, 3, but 4.
Yes, sir.
When the hypocrite went to the court of public opinion, he said that Wallace heard rumors while he was in prison about the messenger having some kids.
Yes, sir.
Rumors.
Yes, sir.
Then he said Wallace, after hearing them rumors, he didn't go to the messenger.
That's right.
He didn't go to the messenger. He the messenger's son.
Yes, sir. That's right.
But to show what's in his heart, what kind of hypocrite he is,
Yes, sir.
he went to the sister and asked the sister. Then Malcolm said when Wallace asked the sister told him, here is your brother. That's what he said the sister told him. So then he said that after this sister told Wallace this, Wallace told him, where the witnesses at?
Yes, sir.
What witness did Wallace say he talked to?
Right.
Which 4?
Yes, sir.
Because Malcolm knew when he was telling the people this, he in the court of public opinion.
Right.
Because the Nation of Islam got ministers, secretaries, lieutenants, investigators, all that.
Yes, sir. Right.
Why Wallace asking these sisters anything?
Right. Right.
Why he asked? You got investigators.
That's right.
They hypocrites
That's right.
who want to find something on the message.
Yes, sir.
Because any person, any regular believer, if somebody told you that, it's like, what witnesses you got?
Yes, sir. That's right.
Not entertaining that.
Yeah.
Right.
But you gonna tell me the messenger got. Now if I ain't gonna entertain that for a brother, what you telling me, brother? Get out of my face with that.
Right.
Praise to Allah.
Yes, sir. That's right.
And what you say? The messenger got no wife. That's a believer.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Care what they say. What you mean he got wives? Or he got children by some sister? No. You're not entertaining that.
Right.
But Malcolm and Wallace did.
He did. Yes, sir.
The sisters told. Now we got a show called Maury. We be having these sisters on there talking about that's his baby.
Right. Yeah.
Court of public opinion.
Yeah.
They even show pictures sometime of the baby next to the brother. Sometimes you can look like, wow, they look like this brother. That's his child.
Right.
Because in the court of public opinion, it's like it looked like it could be true.
Right.
But then Maury come out and say, you are not the father.
Yeah.
That's right.
It don't make no difference how much the baby looked like the brother.
Right.
It don't make no difference how much this sister say he was the only one I was with.
Right.
That don't stop the DNA, the truth.
Right.
You ain't the father.
Right.
All praise to Allah. Don't make no difference about all that. So when Wallace and Malcolm went to interview them sisters, and they said, yes, he the father of my baby. What difference do that make?
Right.
When you talking about freedom, justice, and equality?
Right.
What difference do it make?
Yes, sir.
That ain't no case.
That's right.
Not in Islam.
Right.
But Malcolm being a hypocrite, he knew that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He know how it go.
That's right.
So he said, since I want to destroy the messenger, I don't got nothing on him. I can't take this to no believers.
That's right.
I know I can't take this. I can't go to Captain Joseph and tell him this.
Right.
And we got no case.
Right.
I know these FOI in here. I can't go to them. But the white man,
Yes, sir.
I can take it to the court of public
Right.
opinion.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Because the court of public opinion, it don't matter if it's true or false.
That's right.
You gonna tarnish this man's reputation in the public, whether it's true or false.
That's right, brother.
Yes, sir.
It don't make no difference.
Yes, sir.
So that's what he did.
That's right. Exactly what he
So when this brother now, this so-called Muslim, talking about the messenger was a fraud, he a Muslim. He know that you're supposed to have 4 witnesses
Right.
That's right.
to accuse a person
Right.
of adultery. He a Muslim.
Right.
Because they got a lot of these Sunnis in the documentary. These ex-followers of the messenger.
Right.
Right.
But the one thing about the message, he said that Allah told me that these hypocrites would come.
That's right.
I knew a long time before these hypocrites ever tried to do what they did.
That's right.
So the messenger stayed 1,000 steps ahead of these hypocrites.
Yes, sir. That's right.
So let's look at some of the messenger's fruits. And let's show you how the messenger was 1,000 steps ahead of these hypocrites.
Yes, sir. What?
This comes from the movie Malcolm X, because everybody loved the movie. But in the movie, they used to take some of Malcolm X's speeches and used to use them for the movie. This was a speech that Malcolm X gave while he was at Harvard. Now, before we look at his speech, let's look at how many brothers in here in the picture with Malcolm. Because another thing that he did for the court of public opinion, he said that when he went to Mecca, he said he experienced, that was the best form of brotherhood that he has ever experienced.
That's it. Yes,
He went through them devils.
yes, sir. Right.
The best. Now we got to remember, that was for the court of public opinion.
Yes.
Yes, sir. That's right.
That wasn't true. Because when you go to Mecca, let's talk about Mecca. Everybody in Mecca is a Muslim. Mecca is a sacred place. So you got a code of conduct in Mecca.
Sir.
You got a code of conduct. You're not going to do necessarily what's in your heart when you're in Mecca.
Right.
It's a code of conduct.
Right.
Right.
You do as the Romans do when you in Rome, they say.
Yeah.
So all the Muslims get together and all, how you doing, salam alaikum and all that. That's where Malcolm met them devils. But when Malcolm met the messenger, he was in prison.
That's right.
Ain't no code of conduct in prison.
That's right.
When he was in prison, he said he was the embodiment of evil, personification of evil.
Right.
That's who he was when he met the messenger. But when he wrote his letter for the court of public opinion, the black man loved the devil.
That's right.
So when he tells them, this was I have experienced in the last 11 days.
Yes, sir.
The best brotherhood I ever experienced was when I was with these devils, sitting on the mat with them, sharing food out the plate with them. That was the best form of brotherhood I ever experienced. But when you even look in this movie, and you see all of these brothers with Malcolm, this was the brotherhood of the Nation of Islam.
Right.
Because even though when Malcolm started mud washing the message, that was the first time you ever heard him say he felt like his life was threatened. Because he was outside of the brotherhood now.
That's right.
But when he was in the brotherhood, all that he was saying about the devil, never did he get up there and say he felt like his life was threatened.
That's right.
He talked against the president
Yes, sir.
of the United States of America, said, I'm glad he died. It was a case of the chickens coming home to roost.
Yes, sir.
He didn't never say he felt like his life was threatened. Malcolm used to beat up on Kennedy all the time. They used to have cartoons and the Muhammad speaks about Kennedy.
Right.
Never did he say, I feel like my life is threatened. Because he had a brotherhood he was in.
Yes.
That's right.
A brotherhood.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
When you see these brothers, their only purpose is to fight.
Yes.
That's right.
They ain't there to answer no questions, ask you nothing.
Right.
Yes, sir.
The only purpose they there for is if you try to attack this brother, our brother,
Yes,
we
sir.
fight.
That's right. Yes, sir.
All praise is due to Allah. That's the purpose of the brotherhood.
That's right.
Everybody got a purpose.
Yes.
You telling the truth, we come to help fight.
That's right, brother.
You fight over the rostrum, we'll physically fight.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
So that's why when you see Muslims in front of these devils, telling them the white man is the devil,
Yes, sir.
telling them God came in the person, all that,
Yes, sir.
black brotherhood.
Right. Yes, sir.
But he gonna say that the best brotherhood he experienced was among the devil. So let's look at how the messenger stayed 1,000 steps ahead of these hypocrites.
Yes, sir.
While he was at Harvard, he said, I live like an animal. He said, I stole, I used drugs, I smoked reefers, cocaine, I committed adultery. Because the way the messenger stayed 2 steps ahead of these hypocrites. All Muslims had to tell everybody what Islam has done for me.
That's right.
All praise is due to Allah. We gonna have on record of you long before you turn hypocrite. You telling everybody what these teachings have done for you.
Right.
So when you turn hypocrite and talk against me, we got you on record, brother.
Right.
Telling your audience about what you used to be
Right.
before you came and followed my teachings.
Right.
Everybody heard you.
Yes.
So when the messenger called you a hypocrite, he ain't got to go before the court of public opinion.
Yes, sir. That's
He got you on record.
right.
All he got to do is tell the people what the Holy Quran say about a hypocrite.
Yes.
That's all I got to do.
Right.
Because I'm with Allah.
Right.
Who I'm with care nothing about no court of public opinion.
Right.
Because the white man's world is on its way out.
That's right.
All of the praise that Malcolm get is going with this devil's world.
That's right.
Right.
All of the praise.
Yes.
But the messenger's praise. It's going to be in the hereafter.
Yes, sir.
So don't all praise due to Allah. So it don't make no difference about the court of public opinion when it comes to the message.
Right.
That's right.
He with God.
Right.
Brother.
He told them I'm going to be successful whether I'm living or dead.
That's right.
Don't make no difference. So the messenger never went to the court of public opinion on Malcolm.
That's right.
Never.
Yes, sir.
He kept doing the same thing he was doing when Malcolm was with him.
That's
Yes,
right.
sir.
That's the one thing that's remarkable about the message.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
He never changed. Never changed. The same way he was when Wallace was in the house with him.
Yes, sir.
Same way he was when Wallace was mud washing. Same way he was when Wallace came back. He was still writing articles on hypocrites.
Right.
He didn't change. He said in 57, I believe, this temple is honeycomb with hypocrites.
Right.
Yes.
Why are they in there?
Yes.
It's honeycomb with hypocrites.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
When Wallace came back after being a hypocrite, he used to write articles on hypocrites. How you can identify a hypocrite. He didn't change.
Right.
He never changed.
That's right.
He always stayed 1,000 feet or 1,000 steps ahead of these hypocrites.
Yes.
Right.
Because he said, Allah's with me.
That's right.
That's one thing Malcolm couldn't say,
Yes, sir.
even in the court of public opinion. He couldn't say Allah's with me.
That's right.
He couldn't say the more Elijah Muhammad fight me, the more Allah gonna fight him. Never could he say that. But the messenger said that. He ain't got to say it in the court of public opinion either.
That's right.
He telling the believers,
Yes, sir.
Allah's with me.
That's right.
The more these hypocrites fight us, the more Allah gonna fight them.
That's right.
That's how he used to talk. Because he stayed 1,000 steps ahead of these hypocrites.
That's right.
So Malcolm is before everybody. Telling them I was an adulterer. Now we go back to Jesus. If you was an adulterer, how can a man who is an adulterer teach you how to stop being an adulterer?
Yes, sir.
A tree by the fruit that it bears.
Right.
You can't charge this man with adultery when he taught you how to stop being an adulterer.
Yes, sir.
All praise is due. But in the court of public opinion, this don't matter. He can call the messenger a fraud.
Right. Yes, sir.
But he can't talk about the work of the messenger. Because not only in the movie, in real life, this is a YouTube video of Malcolm. It say Malcolm X on what Elijah Muhammad has done.
Yes, sir.
Stand 1,000 feet, 1,000 steps ahead of these hypocrites.
Right. Yes, sir.
You tell them what I done done.
Right.
I'm the messenger of Allah.
Yes, sir.
You get up there and you tell them.
Right.
Because when you say that you the messenger of Allah and you want to prove that he a phony, that's what you got to prove. All this other stuff you talking about is neither here nor there. Talking about he got all these babies and stuff. You can't prove that. You ain't got no witness.
That's right.
So that don't mean nothing to no believers.
No.
You talking about the messenger got kids. But let's go even further than what he said. He said, had it not been for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I surely have been in an insane asylum or dead, or possibly even the murder of one of you. So what is Mr. Muhammad trying to do? He says he's trying to get us on God's side so that God will be on our side and help us to fight our battles.
Yes, sir.
So the messenger wasn't in there trying to hype himself up. He didn't say that the messenger just want us to praise him He said what he want us to do is be on God's side.
That's
Yes.
right. Yes, sir.
So the messenger didn't change when Malcolm went to the court of public opinion.
That's right.
He's still like, Allah's with me.
That's
Yes.
right.
He ain't with this hypocrite.
That's right.
He ain't with him at all.
Yes, sir.
So the more he fight us, the more Allah gonna fight him.
That's right.
So he went on to say, he says when the Negro, the so-called Negro in America, gets on God's side and listen to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he want to get off drugs. He'll want to get away from a life of crime. He'll want to get away from committing adultery and fornication.
Uh-huh.
So you can tell a tree by the fruit that it bears.
Right.
That's right.
How he an adulterer and make you feel like you want to stop committing adultery.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Feel like
Right.
you want to stop committing adultery.
Yes.
What is it about him? What is he saying? Is it in his heart? Because if he didn't have it in his heart, he couldn't make you feel it in your heart.
That's
Yes,
right,
sir.
brother.
All praise due to Allah.
Yes, sir.
That's what you don't have to say when you in the court of public opinion. So he went on to say, he said then he will want to get off the welfare. He will want to get a job. He will want to earn a living and take care of his family. And his family will respect him. His son will say, I'm proud that that's my father. His wife will say, I'm proud that that's my husband. He says, father only means that you're taking care of your children. That's what it is to be a father. Father doesn't mean that you're having some babies. Anybody can have a baby. But having a baby does not make you a father. Anybody can go out and get a woman. But not anybody can take care of that woman. There's another word for it. It's called responsibility.
Yes, sir.
So how you say you believe in the messenger? You telling all these people this is what the messenger teach us about being a father. Then this sister gonna tell you this his baby. He done kicked me out the temple. This his baby. But you believe. What do that make you? A hypocrite. Messenger ain't got to go to the court of public opinion. He got his text of his messages. People done listen to him talk.
Yes.
I ain't got to go and impress the white man at all. I still continue to tell you like I've been telling you. Allah with me.
That's right.
He a hypocrite. And he won't be successful.
That's right.
So, another beautiful thing that I like about the messenger, he had in the Muhammad Speaks newspaper what Islam has done for me.
Yes, sir.
Staying ahead of the hypocrites.
Yes.
Because everybody telling everybody about what the messenger's teachings has done for you.
That's
Yes,
right.
sir.
And in this Muhammad Speaks newspaper, this brother right here is Minister Benjamin. He said one day the messenger of Allah knocked on my door.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Benjamin was following the messenger 30 years before this hypocrite came on the scene talking that talk.
Yes, sir.
He said one day the messenger knocked on my door.
Yes, sir.
So even when this hypocrite writing in his book, like he's something special, in the prison the messenger sent him money. You got another minister say the messenger knocked on my door too.
Yes,
He got a
sir.
story about the messenger.
Right.
He even talked about how he went to jail with the messenger.
Yes, sir.
Then Brother Benjamin wasn't no broke brother that just some jailbird.
Yes.
His love for the messenger,
Right.
what the messenger and his teachers did for him,
Yes, sir.
he went to jail with him.
Yes, sir.
He ain't do nothing to go to jail. He went to jail with the messenger.
That's
Yes.
right.
And what Islam has done for me,
Yes, sir.
telling the world about the teachings of the messenger.
Yes, sir.
Long time before this hypocrite was on the scene. This my fruits.
Yes, sir.
Because Jesus said you'll know a tree by the fruit that it bears.
That's right.
So every week you can read about the fruits of the messenger.
Yes, sir.
Another part of that movie that I like, when Malcolm went to Harvard to speak, it was this devil who asked him, what can we do to help? He said nothing. Ain't nothing you can do to help. Because not only was the messenger cleaning up the black man, he made the black man independent. All praise is due to Allah. Independent of the white man.
Yes.
Right.
We wasn't looking for no brotherhood with the white man.
That's
right.
right.
That's what the messenger instilled in us.
Yes, sir.
So when this devil offered some brotherhood, we don't even need it. We don't even need it. So it's a whole lot of devils that offered brotherhood to the Muslims when Malcolm was in the nation.
Yes, sir.
That stuff he went to Mecca with wasn't the first time he saw some brotherhood from some white people.
Right.
That wasn't the first time.
Right.
But when he was with the man, he didn't need no brotherhood from the white man.
That's right.
So he wasn't impressed. She walked up to them.
Mm-hmm.
They wasn't bothering her. She walked up to them and said, what could I do to help? So if Malcolm was this changed person, why did he say, oh, you can help us all this brotherhood? He didn't need it.
Right.
Because the messenger made us independent.
That's
Yes,
right.
right.
But when he went to Mecca, he didn't have a black brotherhood. So now when a white person eat out the plate with the devil, laying on a mat with the devil, he gonna tell the black man, this is the best form of brotherhood I ever experienced. More lives
That's right.
from this hypocrite.
That's right.
Because that's what the messenger taught us that he was.
Right.
And when you look back on the things he did what hypocrites do.
Yes, sir.
Everything he did was what hypocrites do.
Yes, sir.
So let's go even further than that. Because we want to talk about these Sunni Muslims. All these Sunni Muslims who sit up there and act like Malcolm had some big change when he went to Mecca. Because the Holy Quran tells us what you're supposed to do when somebody slanders somebody.
Yes, sir.
Because the prophets were slandered.
Right.
The messenger wasn't the only one who was slandered.
Yes, sir.
He wasn't the only one. Jesus was slandered.
That's right.
Prophet Muhammad was slandered.
Yes, sir.
So even these Christians who be sitting up there talking about, because ain't nothing more self-righteous than a Christian, a black Christian, who believe he's saved by grace.
Yes, sir.
Say that Malcolm found out that Elijah Muhammad couldn't live up to his teachings. That's what them Christians say. But we can show you in it that ain't what Jesus said. He said you will know a tree by the fruit that it bears.
Right.
So we can show you that everybody's love for the devil makes them a hypocrite to what they say they believe. You don't believe in Jesus because Jesus was had false witnesses against him.
That's right.
Jesus was crucified, so you say he was crucified because they lied on him.
Right.
So if you believe in Jesus, he told you that you should know a tree by the fruit it bears. You believe that the Sanhedrin had false witness against him. How you sign with Malcolm?
Right.
Oh, praise be to Allah.
Right. Yes, sir.
That's why the messenger didn't need the court of public opinion. He just, what the scriptures say about what's going on.
Yes, sir.
So this comes from the Holy Quran called the light. This says, and it's talking about a woman who is accused of adultery. This is the woman as an example. It says, and those who accuse free women and bring not forth witnesses, flog them with 80 stripes and never accept their evidence. And these are the transgressors.
Yes, sir.
That's what the Holy Quran says.
Yes, sir.
It says if you accuse a free woman of adultery and you don't have 4 witnesses, you flog the one. Flog mean beat him. The one who accusing her if he ain't got 4 witnesses.
Right.
Because he the transgressor.
Yes.
Oh, praise to God. That's what Allah telling the believers.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
That one who coming to you against somebody in your community, telling you that he accusing him of adultery. The one who accused him, if they don't have 4 witnesses, they are the transgressors.
That's
Right.
right.
Yes, sir.
So in the footnote, it says this is an effectual restraint against slander and gossip.
Yes, sir.
That's the purpose of that.
Right.
Right.
To keep the person from being slandered and people from spreading gossip.
Right. Yes, sir.
So you got to bring 4 witnesses
Yes.
before you charge somebody of adultery.
Yes, sir.
So it goes on because it even gives you an example of Aisha, who was the prophet's wife. It says, why did not the believing men and believing women, when you heard it, think well of their own people and say, this is an evident falsehood? You know Aisha, when you heard this slander against her, why didn't you think well of her?
Right.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Why you gonna go with the slander? Because some of the Muslims, when they start slandering the prophet's wife, they went along with the slander. So it says, why did not the believing men and believing women, when you heard it, think well of their people and say this is an evident falsehood. Why did they not bring 4 witnesses up?
Right,
Yes, sir.
right.
That's what the Holy Quran says.
Yes, sir.
It says, so as they have not brought witnesses, they are liars in the sight of Allah.
Right. Yes, sir.
Praise be to Allah. That's why the messenger ain't had to go to the court of public opinion.
Right. Yes, sir.
He said, go read the slanderer.
Yes, sir.
That's what he is.
Yes, sir.
He even told us the footnote to read.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he is. He a slanderer.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
But these so-called fake Sunni Muslims
Yes, sir.
siding with Malcolm,
Yes, sir.
acting like when he went to Mecca, that's when he had this change. Because every time, to show you how hypocritical all these black Sunni Muslims are, all of them, not one, all of them.
Yes.
Because when you read in the Holy Quran, every prophet that it talks about how the people did not accept them because they didn't teach what their fathers taught.
Yes, sir.
All of the prophets. I believe it was either Prophet Hood or Prophet Salih. It was talking about the she-camel. It was talking about how Allah gave them some kind of ordinance with a she-camel
Yes, sir.
that had nothing to do with everybody else's Islam. It was something that he gave that was specific for Salih's people,
Uh-huh.
specific for them.
Right.
So it talks about how in rebellion to Allah, they did whatever he told them not to do against the she-camel,
Yeah.
and he destroyed them.
That's right.
Yes.
That's how the Holy Quran talk about the prophets.
Yes.
Right.
It say, I have sent them or raised them from among the people,
Yes, sir.
so that the people will not have an excuse.
That's right.
That's what it is. So if we was over here in the hills of North America, and we don't have no Islam, the white man stripped us of our names, language, culture, our God.
That's right.
Everybody know that. It was Muslims who was over here, Arab Muslims. They ain't concerned with us.
That's right.
We ain't none of their responsibility. They don't have no responsibility to us
That's right.
at all.
Yes, sir.
If we gonna have Islam, Allah is gonna raise someone from among us
That's right.
to give us Islam.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
That's
praise
right.
be to Allah. They can't teach us Islam.
No.
That's how it go.
That's right.
They can't teach us Islam. So when you have these fake Muslims acting like Malcolm X changed when he went to Mecca because he started practicing true Islam, they hypocrites too.
That's right.
All of them.
Yes, sir.
They hypocrites. If you don't accept the message, because you also have Brother Maulana Muhammad Ali.
Yes, sir.
He wrote the book, The Life of Prophet Muhammad.
Yes.
They don't just talk about Prophet Muhammad getting revealed the scriptures. They don't just talk about that. They also talk about how he reformed his people.
Yes.
Because Prophet Muhammad wasn't accepted either. Prophet Muhammad used to be with the Jewish people because their prophet was Moses. They used to pray towards Jerusalem. Prophet Muhammad used to pray towards Jerusalem with them because Moses told them to do that.
Right.
But Allah revealed to Prophet Muhammad that now the Qibla, as they say,
Right.
is towards Mecca.
Yes, sir.
When he started doing that, them Jews didn't accept him.
Right.
For the same reason these fake black Sunni Muslims act like they don't accept the message.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because Master Farad Muhammad didn't reveal to him the same thing that was revealed to Prophet Muhammad.
Right.
So the Jews, they denied Prophet Muhammad as a prophet.
Yeah.
So the way that the Arabs try to defend his prophethood and say, look at what was revealed to him and look at what he did for the Arabs.
Yes.
Look at how he raised them up and made them a great nation.
Yes, sir.
Right.
They don't just talk about Prophet Muhammad getting the Holy Quran revealed to him.
Right.
They also talk about the Arabs and their condition, the before and after.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So when we talk about the messenger, it ain't just the fact that he was raised up by Allah. It's what he did among us.
That's
Yes.
right. That's
All
right.
praise is due to Allah.
Yes, sir.
What he did with this hypocrite.
Yes.
Because no matter what he say, it was the messenger who transformed him.
That's right.
No matter what he say.
That's right.
It's on record.
Yes, sir.
You was the personification of evil.
Yes, sir.
You said it yourself.
Right.
And even in his autobiography, he said that when his brothers in them was bringing him Islam, he said that they used to tell him, turn to Allah. They didn't tell him nothing like trying to worship the messenger. They told him, turn to Allah.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
That's what they used to tell him to do. You're going to have to learn how to submit to Allah.
Right.
That's what they... So when Malcolm's life was changed, Islam ain't like Christianity.
That's right.
Malcolm tasted the pleasures of Islam. He tasted that. So he owe Allah,
Yes, sir.
Yes.
who came in the person of Master Farad. He owe him.
Yes, sir.
I don't give us all these blessings for us to take it and use it for our own. No. You using this to attract more people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, pray to what? I'm done taught my message.
Yes, sir.
That's why I done gave all this to you. I didn't give this to you for you to be all in the camera.
That's right.
I gave this to you and I'm blessing you to get more of them.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
That's what I'm giving you this for.
Yes, sir.
So when Malcolm turned hypocrite against the messenger, that's why you can say Allah with me.
Right.
When the messenger used to talk about Malcolm. Because I don't like the way these new school Muslims be talking about this Malcolm X thing.
Yes, sir.
The messenger in this rare, it's a very rare interview of Messenger Elijah Muhammad, said Allah had a hand
Yes, sir.
in his death.
Yes.
When the messenger used to write about the hypocrites, he said that in the Holy Quran, he'll tell you where it's at. Strive hard against the hypocrites and the disbelievers.
That's right.
Strive hard.
Yes, sir.
And he was striving hard.
What he did. Yes,
When he had them newspapers with Malcolm's head in it, that's striving hard
that's right.
against the hypocrites and the disbelievers.
That's right.
When you read them brothers was on Malcolm, they was striving hard
That's right.
against that hypocrite. Wasn't nothing they did that was wrong.
Yes, sir.
No, they try to make us, with these documentaries, with this Malcolm stuff, they try to make us feel ashamed of Muhammad's arm.
Yes, sir.
The messenger had an arm.
That's right.
The believers ain't ashamed.
That's right.
Ain't ashamed, brother. The only thing we can't go with is when they came in there and shot. That's it. Everything else they was striving hard. They ain't do nothing wrong.
That's right.
But they try to make us feel ashamed. Look at what they was doing in the temple against Malcolm. Look at how they turned it. They should have turned against him.
That's right.
The messenger said, Allah said, strive hard against the hypocrites and the disbelievers.
That's right.
But let's go even further than that. Because the one thing that I like about the messenger, even lost founds used to talk good about the messenger.
Yes, sir.
Because in the Jet magazine, I like the Jet magazine that covered the messenger's death. Because the one thing about the Jet magazine that I like is they also interviewed other black people when the messenger died. This one brother who they interviewed, it says, a so-called Negro stumbled slowly on Chicago's Stony Island Avenue from a tavern as the funeral procession proceeded the Muslim mosque to pay last respect to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This brother came out the bar, stumbling,
Yes, sir.
paying respects to the messenger.
Yes, sir.
Alcohol, brother.
Yes, sir.
This brother says the man stood there clutching a barbecue sandwich in one hand and a bottle of beer in the other. Brother drinking and drunk, but he still got enough sense from what he heard of the message. I'm paying respects to this man.
Yes, sir.
I'm paying respects to him. So he says, as the funeral cruised cautiously along the route, the man with the barbecue and beer looked about him and addressed his remarks to no one in particular. He just said to everybody who listened,
Yes, sir.
said, you know something, brother? He said, sadly, if Elijah Muhammad hadn't put down such a bad rap against pig and pork, all black folks would be Muslims.
Yes, sir.
So in his heart, that's the best he could say. He loved the messenger.
Yes.
He loved that hog too.
Yeah.
He loved that bottle. If it wasn't for this though, all black people would be Muslims.
Yes, sir.
That's how the black man loved the messenger.
Yes,
When this brother talking about he a phony.
Yes, sir.
This brother ain't even clean. The messenger talking against hog.
That's right.
The messenger talking against drinking alcohol. But this wino still love the messenger.
Yes, sir.
Praise due to Allah.
Yes, sir.
So he come out of the bar to pay his respects to the messenger.
Yes, sir.
That's what the Jet magazine, and they also talked about. It says the Honorable Elijah Muhammad built a kingdom here on earth.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
A kingdom.
Yes.
The Notice what they compared the messenger's work to. A kingdom. And now you got this fake Sunni.
Yes, sir.
Talking about Malcolm X, a hypocrite, done exposed a fraud.
Yeah.
They said the Honorable Elijah Muhammad built a kingdom on earth among people who knew little about faith and hope. His converts comprised a class few other religions sought, and a few could transform into beautiful human beings.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Oh,
sir.
pray this the message.
Yes, sir.
Jesus said, you will know a tree by the fruit that it bears.
That's right.
They talking about the messenger after he dead,
Yes, sir.
looking at his fruits.
That's right.
He said his converts are people that most religions wouldn't even go seek after.
Yeah.
But this man is a fraud. Then he said he changed them into beautiful human beings.
That's right.
Then he goes on to say, his converts were the down and out blacks, the poor, the welfare recipients, and the dope addicts, all who saw life as a prison of despair. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad himself, a man who had perspired in the cotton fields of the South and who had toiled in Detroit's auto plants, shaped his nation of Islam into a working religion.
Yes, sir.
What they saying about the man? Same thing he said. Islam is a working religion.
That's right.
They saw him, the fruits of what he talking about. He ain't just talking.
That's right.
They saw in his followers and in his nation the fruits of his labor.
Right.
So they go on to say, for his multitude who believed in him and his words, he promised results, not only of salvation of the mind and body, but also a kingdom of thriving business. And there grew a nationwide string of restaurants, supermarkets, banks, a national newspaper, and schools for children who many of this country had believed were unable to learn. So when Jet Magazine talking about the message, they talking about these people he was dealing with was the ones people didn't even think nothing could come out of them.
Right. Yes, sir.
But this man, these ain't even Muslims. They looking at the fruits of his labor and said these people he converted
Yes, sir.
are the people who had no hope, prisoners, prostitutes,
Right.
children who they thought couldn't even learn. But this man and his converts, he built a kingdom with them type people.
That's right. Yes, sir.
So he goes on to say, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did not dine with presidents or governors. For much of his life, he and his religion were ignored as just another cult. The messenger of Allah's world concerned his own black people and their destiny.
Yes, sir.
Say he ain't down with presidents and stuff. His whole world was concerned with his people's destiny.
Right.
That was different from Malcolm X.
Right.
Malcolm went to the public opinion. That's what Malcolm went to. The court of public opinion.
Yes, sir.
The messenger never did that. And people saw that. He didn't have to dine with these big top people. His whole world was about the destiny of his people.
That's right.
So it goes on to say, he started from storefronts and built a kingdom of service worth more than 80 million. But this accomplishment was only a part of his message that oppressed people in America could multiply in riches and spiritual goodness if only they believe in themselves. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad is gone, but the many symbols of hope in our slums remain as his legacy.
Yes, sir.
They say he gone, but the stuff he built still here.
Yes, sir.
That's the message. But now, we got these fake Sunnis talking about the messenger was a fraud. Fruits of his labor. Well, brothers and sisters, we don't want to prolong the time. So I leave you as I came in the nation of Islam's greeting words, peace of Assalamu alaikum.